Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of So Tell Us Time. Well, we are hoping that you are having a sensational Tuesday morning. I was reminded by our employees that, we've kind of coined the word sensational here at So Tell Us. We've been saying it Ron's been saying it for 70 something years. And Troy and I have definitely been saying, I'm 41. I've been saying it since I was a kid. Troy's, probably 35 now. What are you, 35 years old now, Troy? You're saying it.
Something like that.
I know. I'm always like, what the heck? People are always like, oh, your brothers. Who's the older brother? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Apparently, I don't age well. But you're like a fine wine. And I'm like a rotten tomato again, apparently. But we are hoping that you are having a sensational Tuesday morning. We've got a great episode for you guys today. In fact, we're talking about something that's really important that a lot of people don't put time, energy, and effort into, and you should. We're talking about rebranding. It's a very important thing. And specifically, there's a lot about rebranding and a lot of places that we can talk about rebranding, but we're going to focus in on the first place you should look at rebranding. And that is, I'm going to pose it with a question. How old is your website? When was it built? Is it the same as it was 3 years ago? Maybe 5 years ago? 10 years ago? Oh my gosh. Like 20 years ago, been in business forever, and you still have the same website that you had 20 years ago. Well, funny enough, I was talking about it earlier in a different podcast that we were rebranding our website. In fact, we've launched that new design. So if you haven't checked out sotellus.com in a while, check it out because it's got a brand new look to it. And that's what we're talking about today. It is the first, a lot of the times, the first representation of your business. And if it is outdated, if it is antiquated, not responsive, doesn't work on all devices. Anyways, I'm probably diving into things Troy's going to talk about right now, but you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to let Troy go with the episode. As always, I don't read outlines. I just dive in and do reels. So, all right, Troy, let's get this episode started.
All right. Like Trevor said, we recently rebranded our website. And with that rebrand, not only did we change the look and feel of it, but we added a lot of additional services that we provide that a lot of our clients didn't know about. And I can tell you right now, doing that rebrand has already generated more business for us. So, and that's the whole point here. We're not talking about rebranding just to rebrand. We're talking about rebranding to make you more money, right? Because if it doesn't make you money, we don't focus on it, right? We're all about generating more revenue. So, we'll just get started. All right. So why your website might be hurting your business. Here's the thing, business evolution. Your business has grown, but your website probably still reflects your early stage offerings and brandings. With Sotellus, right? Our Sotellus website was focused on one of our products, the Sotellus Review and Referral Management System, and it did a great job. We send thousands and thousands of visitors to that website every month, and it generates leads and closes sales. But we realized, look, if we're spending $25,000 a month sending traffic to the website, why are we not talking about our other services out there? And so we did a complete rebrand of that website, put all of our other additional services on there, and it's absolutely changed the way the leads are coming in, what people are interested in. It's completely changed our sales process. Our sales guys are so happy with the new website because it's generating so much more business for them, right? More leads and opportunities. So I want you to think about your website. Do you have services that are not on your website that you offer, right? Or maybe the services you have on your website, you have, there's been advances and changes in those services and your website doesn't reflect that at all, right? So think about that. Your business has evolved, but your website probably has not. The next thing is design trends change very fast, right? So, websites that looked modern 3 to 5 years ago often feel clunky and outdated now. just 3 to 5 years ago. And like Trevor said, when was the last time you did your website? 10 years ago, 15 years ago? So if it has not been redone in the last couple of years, then most likely that look is very outdated, and people are going to get that impression right off the bat when they visit the website, because again, we've said this before, but what do consumers do? They tend to look at 2 to 3 different businesses, right? So they're looking at your business plus at least 2 of your competitors. And if they see a outdated website on your website, and then they go to your competitor's website and it looks new, it looks fresh, it's got calls to action, it's got all of these great things, it's got web chat on there, what are the odds they're going to pick your competitor versus picking you, right? So it is really important to make sure that you are rebranding and refreshing that look of the website. Because again, visual first impressions matter. Customers are going to judge your credibility within seconds of visiting your website. So it's really important that it gives you credibility and it doesn't take away from your credibility. The last thing you want to do is have a website that's antiquated and looks outdated, and then you have to try and use the content on the website to sell them, right? Like you already started below and now you got to sell them back up to use you. No, your website, that first impression should make them immediately move you up one step of like, oh yeah, no, these guys look professional, I want to use them, right? The other thing is functionality issues, right? If you have an older website, probably have like slow load times, meaning it takes a long time for your website to actually come up. You might have broken links, right? There's nothing more frustrating for a user to click on a, link in your website or a button and it doesn't work. It doesn't go anywhere, right? It might have a poor mobile experience. Now, over 50% of traffic right now is mobile on the internet. So if your website is not mobile friendly, then you are losing business, because 50% of the people are going to land on it. They're going to go, yeah, nope. And they're going to go right back to Google and they're going to go to the next website because they can't use your website on their phone. So that functionality is really important. Not only may there be, issues with functionality, but you might be missing functionality that owners want today. Like we've talked about web chat a lot in our podcast. If you don't have web chat, that's a place that you're probably losing leads. So, and your old website might not even be able to handle it, right? So you want to make sure that you can have the latest and greatest functionality in your website. Because again, remember, a bad user experience drives people away, even if your product or service is amazing. So that's really important, right? If they have a bad user experience, they're going to assume that the rest of the experience with your company is going to be the same, a bad experience, right? All right. So now let's talk about signs it's time to update your website. So the first thing, these are the things they're going to tell you like, yep, I need to update my website. The first thing is the look feels dated. Now, you may say to yourself, I think my website looks great. I love the look of it when I built it 10 years ago. Right? So what I want you to do is I want you to just Google your services in your area, and I want you to click on the first 5 websites on the first page of Google. And then I want you to have your website up, and I want you to look at their websites, and I want you to look at your website. And that's going to tell you, does your website look dated? Does it feel dated? And that could be from the fonts, the layout, maybe the colors, right? If your website feels old-fashioned compared to your competitors, you need to take action. Another thing, the do-it-yourself logo. That, you may have a logo that you created like 10 years ago, and that's you love that logo, but it might look pretty old now. So sometimes those do-it-yourself logos, they date you right off the bat. Yeah. Also, like stock heavy images on your website. Maybe because again, you didn't have, back when you first started and you built your website, you didn't have a lot of photos of your team and your trucks and your vehicles and your, the work that you've done and the projects you've completed. So you just kind of use stock images. Well, it's very easy to identify stock images versus real images. So if you're using stock images on the website, it's probably time to update that website. Now,
especially in the world of AI, right? Like, there's no reason to have crap stock images. I mean, you can build custom AI images nowadays. The images are getting better. People's images. I mean, listen, it's no longer stock. It's just called fake, right? But those images look pretty stinking good. So
absolutely.
you're just going to look even worse if you're just using old school stock images that you purchased, and hopefully you purchased them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is messaging is off. You know, over the years, right, in your business, you've refined your mission, your values, who your ideal client is, but your website still talks to the wrong audience, right? It talks to the people that you were doing business with 10 years ago, not the people that you're trying to attract now. So if your messaging is off, then your website's not going to be effective, right? If you have confusing call to actions or unclear next steps of what they need to do on the website, because again, back in the day, your website was just an informational brochure, and your website might still be an informational brochure. And that's probably one of the reasons why you're not getting as many leads as you want, because right now, your website needs to be a lead generating and lead capturing machine, right? Which means the messaging's got to be right. The calls to action have to be right. The next steps have to be right. Everything needs to be there to drive people to fill out those forms, to call you, to chat on the website, so you get the lead and your competitor doesn't. The next thing is lack of mobile optimization. We've talked about this again. More than 50% of web traffic is mobile. So if it's hard to navigate on a phone, you're losing business. People are immediately leaving your website and going to your competitor. And then another thing,
funny because we used to design desktop first, mobile second, right? And now it's mobile first, desktop second. Like, it's all about the mobile experience, because again, people are carrying, computers basically now in their pockets. And this is what we use for everything.
Exactly. I would love to know the number. I'm gonna have to look this up. Now I gotta look this up, but I would love to know how many people have a smartphone but do not have a computer anymore. I bet there is a large percentage of the population that don't even have a computer or have not been on their computer in a very long time, right? Because they do everything on their phone. So that's why our focus is mobile first, right? When it comes to website design. Okay, the next thing is poor SEO performance. I know we all want to be number one on the first page of Google, right? But we might have a 10-year-old website that is so outdated that the SEO strategies that were put into that website 10 years ago don't even matter anymore. In fact, there's a good chance that Google penalizes you because of those outdated strategies. Or you might just be missing optimization altogether. So, poor SEO can be, if you are not ranking, your website's not ranking well, then you really need to think about a rebrand and a redesign of that website to get up to the latest and greatest when it comes to SEO strategies. Otherwise, you might as well just not worry about ever ranking on the first page of Google. And we all know how valuable that is. All right, so now let's talk about practical ways to update your website without spending a fortune, right? So the first thing you can do is refresh your homepage first, right? So a lot of times we look at our website, we're like, yes, I need to change my website. I need to make it better, but I've got 15 pages of content on there and I don't have time to redo the content, all that content, and update all the images and do everything. And that's okay, right? We can take it in bite-sized chunks if we need to, right? So maybe you just need to refresh your homepage first, which means you update the headline, you update your call to action, you add a hero image right there that reflects your current brand, not your old brand, right? So those changes, just those little changes, can make a big difference when it comes to your website. Because again, the majority of traffic lands on your website, and then it kind of goes from there to the other pages. But that first impression happens on that homepage, right? So if that's all you can do is just update the look of the website right now to make it, fresh and new by taking care of that homepage, then that's what you do. Another big thing, swap out those old testimonials and get reviews on your website.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I go to a website and it's like 3 old testimonials that I'm like, yep, don't even believe them, right? And then I look at the business and the business has 100 Google reviews. And it's why are those Google reviews not on the website? Why are you showing me testimonials from 2 decades ago, right? Instead of the Google reviews that came in last week that say you're awesome. So that's another thing you can do on your homepage to really refresh that homepage. All right, next thing is, next idea would be simplify your navigation. Make it easy for people to find what they need, right? I can tell you back in the day, it was all about having as many pages as possible on the website. And these navigations were insanely long. You had these drop downs that had, 20 pages underneath it. And content is still very important when it comes to ranking in the search engines, but you got to simplify the navigation. And the reason you've got to simplify that navigation is because, again, like Trevor showed you, people are on their phone, right? They don't want to hit a drop down that has 20 things that are off the page. It's off the screen of their phone. They can't even see all of the options because the navigation is so long, right? So you've got to reorganize and make it simpler. Yep. Oh, sorry, Trevor, you're going to say something on that?
Oh, I just said, yeah, you got to simplify. It's like people, when you're thinking about a website anyways, people are wanting to very quickly get what they like, the information they want, and then get in contact with you basically. And so when we design sites and we advise our clients, it's like, look, what are the top things that they're going to be looking for, right? Identify the top things they're going to be looking for and give it to them right away. Next, reviews. Reviews are huge because it's all about social proof, right? People want to hear that other people think you're awesome. They don't care what you think about yourself and your company. And then once they have identified you can service them and that they feel confident in the way that you're going to service them, right? Then they just want to contact you. So it's like people over bloat their sites crazy. And then it just becomes confusing and distracting. And then people just move on. They move on to the next website. So simplify. Yes.
Yep. All right. The next thing is update your branding elements. So maybe you just need to kind of refresh the fonts on the website, maybe change that color palette a little bit. Maybe you're using, disco colors from the 1970s on your website instead of the clean, sleek colors of today that that are really popular. And maybe your logo needs to be redone, right? Keep it recognizable, but maybe update the logo. And then add new authentic photos, especially of your team, of your services, of your projects. That's a great way to, update that branding on the website. I mean, it's easy. Swapping out photos, easy, right? Okay, next thing is rewrite key copy. Now, I say key copy, not all copy, right? Because again, you might go, oh, I can't do it. I can't come up with rewriting everything on my website. Okay, great. Focus, on the key copy that most people are going to look at, that they're going to read, right? That's on your homepage, your services page, focus on benefits, not just features, right? People don't care about the features. They care about what's the benefit to them. Right. So, really look at rewriting your content based on the benefit to your customer, not
solving
the
their problem. Yep, solving their problem. Focus on the fact that you solve the problem they have, whatever that is.
Yep. And then if you have an About Us page, make sure your About Us page tells a story that connects with people emotionally, that is not just facts, right? Like if you're going to spend the time on an About Us page, figure out how to connect with them, right? And make them care a little bit about your company and know your company a little bit. That helps build trust. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is, again, just ensure mobile and SEO friendliness, right? So use that responsive design, update your metadata, your alt tags, all of those things that are important for SEO to get that website to rank, higher. And then the last thing, actually, I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to throw one more in here. video, right? Video content.
Totally.
People don't want to read anymore, right? Think about all the most popular social media platforms. Do any of them have you read? No. Like maybe the most old one, Facebook, is the only one that you really read on anymore. All of the rest, video, video, video. So if that's how people want to digest, information, then you need to make sure that you've got video on your website, right? The content, the written content is great for the search engines. The video is great for the consumer, the person who's the potential client coming to the website. All right. So anything else you want to add, Trevor, before we kind of get to the conclusion here?
Well, I would just have them think what Troy just said about video. Think about it when you need to learn how to do something, or when you're researching something, or when you're wanting even reviews about something. What do? A lot of us go to YouTube and we watch videos, and instead of just trying to like Google it anymore and read a manual or whatever it is, and read reviews. No, we want to go to YouTube and we want to see somebody talking about it, showing it to us, whatever that is, whether it's a service or a product. So definitely really think about what Troy just said. And then the last thing is, I'm like your little personal genie. You ask and you shall receive. So the beginning of 2025, 26.7% of global internet access was on mobile phones. So what does that mean? That the beginning of 2025, there were 5.56 billion internet users accessing the internet, and 1.5 billion of those people accessing the internet exclusively accessed it through phones.
Dang.
So 26.7%, 1.5 billion people so far this year have exclusively accessed the internet through a mobile phone. First off, it's a little scary that Google and the internet knows this about us. But of course, what are we doing? We're accessing the internet. They know freaking everything about us. But they know that 1.5 billion people who access the internet through cell phones exclusively did not then access those same people. That's what's scary to me, is they know that we then did not go onto a computer and access the internet. That's freaking crazy.
Wow.
But it also just speaks volumes to our point that it better darn well be mobile amazing, not just mobile friendly anymore, people. Mobile amazing, right? All right, so homework time. This one's easy. Obviously, you're going to this week analyze your website. Have other people look at it. Have friends and family look at it, at least ones with some common sense and brains. Okay, don't just have anybody look at it, I guess. Have somebody that you trust look at it, because a lot of people will give you a lot of bad advice. But look at the website and see what can you do this week to at least create the game plan of updating that website. Does it need to be mobile friendly or mobile amazing, right? I'm going to trademark that, mobile amazing. Or do you need to just update the content because you're not speaking to how you solve the problems that your people are searching for? Do you just need to do a new, maybe an update to the logo? Maybe it's super old, or, these various things that Troy talked about. Check it out. Pick one thing and get started this week. And then, of course, you need to go to our website, sotellus.com, and you've got to check out the new design. We've been talking about it. We've been working on it. I think it turned out phenomenal. People have seen it. They've loved it. But we want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the new sotellus.com design? Let us know. All right, friends, family, all of our amazing listeners, we love you. We appreciate you. We are so grateful for you. Please continue to like, share, comment. Let us know what you guys want to hear about. And otherwise, we just keep coming at you with exactly what's going on in our real world and of 25 years of business. So obviously we get some requests, but honestly, we just get lots of likes, comments, and we appreciate it. So I guess we're on the right track, but we will check you guys out on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.